Nerd out here breaking down a mousesports B-split on train versus GODSENT from Blast Premier, where they'll send two players, chrisJ and Frozen, to split B through Ivy to Backlanes to CT, while Bymas, ropz with bomb, and karrigan are box hauls and comes out ramp. At the beginning of the round, mousesports throw nades outside to keep the CTs honest. Bymas smokes sandwich and karrigan throws a T mid smoke and he mollies back 6. ropz is hauls getting control and he holds the push. On the other side of the map, Frozen and chrisJ are working Ivy. Frozen throws standard Ivy control nades. He advances up while chrisJ covers him. ropz from above ladder smokes back 6 when Frozen's left side Ivy smoke begins to fade, and groups box hauls with karrigan and Bymas. Back to Ivy where chrisJ boosts Frozen so he can get an off angle kill on Frolic top green. Afterwards, the split comes in where Frozen moves towards back lane where he kills Emmy old bomb. Meanwhile, the ramp players come out in clear sight. They weren't contested due to Zen the B anchor rotating the CT to help defend the split. chrisJ will flash CT spawn for Frozen to peek, and he kills Zen. Bomb is planted and karrigan watches Hall's flank and kills Tico, however he gets traded out by Madden, who is now in a 1v4 and chooses to save. The B split can be a powerful strat in that the meta on CT side train is to give up Ivy mid round. CTs usually won't have anyone back lanes to contest. Instead, Ivy is watched from other angles, therefore back lanes is open. If you smoke right side Ivy like how mousesports did, CTs instead take ladder and or T mid control to compensate. Back lanes usually gets untested until you're trying to cross old bomb to CT. That's when you might run into an opper, or when you're about to get the CT spawn, the enemy might already have someone waiting in a good position, because mid round typically there's 2 CTs towards B. It could be a suicide path for those terrorists trying to split. This is why you hardly see the B split come out. You see here how Farley makes the mistake of going top green trying to peek over the smoke with the scout. Instead, he should have played bomb site, and from there, he could watch both angles, back lanes and Ivy cross the hell. Emmy also got caught off position too. Unfortunately, I don't have any other examples of mouse running this strat, so let's go into players' POVs. Frozen heads Ivy where he jumps over to the other side after chrisJ's flash. He gets in a corner where he smokes left and mollies right. Frozen walks up and clears Ivy while Chris is in the back covering him. He holds behind this wall to the right. Frozen walks up and clears left towards back lanes. ropz smokes back 6 and chrisJ watches back lanes where Frozen jumps onto his head and kills Farlick top green. Definitely an off angle peeking onto the boost then swinging. Frozen heads back lanes and flashes old bomb, but ideally you want the flash to go towards the right lane instead of left. Regardless, he gets the kill onto Emmy. Then, he holds connector and ladder for a peek while his ramp teammates come out to B. This is where the pinch comes in onto the B site. Chris will flash CT for Frozen to peek. He kills a blind Zen. Frozen clears CT and advances where he clears back bomb. I'm gonna skip the rest of the round as Madden chooses to save. chrisJ's mouse is opper and he heads Ivy. He will get Ivy control with Frozen. He gets on the dumpster and flashes the enemy opera if there is one holding. Then he peeks with Frozen jumping over as bait. chrisJ holds right side and covers Frozen as he pushes up. He will boost Frozen while watching back lanes. Then he resmokes back 6 and makes his way back lanes, where he nades and flashes CT. His flash blinds Zen and Frozen gets the kill. chrisJ lurks and starts to hunt as his teammates have full control of B. In my opinion, I think chrisJ and karrigan should have swapped places here. You should send the opera down ramp to hold connector rotations, while karrigan has been put in positions to lurk and make plays on mouse, creating space and causing rotations. Putting karrigan in chrisJ's role here, even with a rifle, would be perfectly fine. Bymas smokes sandwich. This in tandem with karrigan's nades outside will keep the CTs honest. These nades put pressure on them outside and forces the CTs to take extra precaution to clear out Olaf and sandwich. It also forces them to use more nades to do so, and it conditions the CTs so in future rounds if mouse throws these nades, then they can come out with them, which they do have a strat where they do so. He will pick up bomb and he heads to top ladder where he holds. He gives bomb to ropz as ropz heads back to smoke back 6, while Bymas goes box haul solo and holds for a peek. Also, Bymas is mouse's entry, so you don't want him having the bomb. He's gonna sit on ramp and it gets mollied off. Once the molly is done, he comes out with karrigan's flash and clears sight. Bymas does watch upper because mouse hasn't cleared it yet. ropz defaults towards halls where he mollies upper and falls back to stairs right away in case someone pushes ramp with a flash. He flashes ramp and jumps over. He does this when the upper molly is still up so he doesn't have to worry about anyone upper peeking him. Once the molly ends, however, he watches for the peek. Zen smokes ramp and ropz throws a nade that does good damage. ropz will fall back where he breaks the window to where he's gonna smoke, then he watches the peek. He comes back ladder to smoke back 6. Bymas gives him bomb. ropz positions himself to the left of the line here while crouching. He turns around, aims here, and left click. He throws this smoke when Frozen is pushed up Ivy, as well as when Frozen smoke fades. You saw earlier from Farlick's POV that this smoke blocks his vision from a very common angle where CT snipers hold Ivy. Afterwards, ropz holds the ladder push and then groups back ramp where he waits out the molly. ropz will jump down focusing on top blue and is right behind Bymas ready to trade. ropz makes his way on the site and fakes plants to bait out a peek upper in case there was a CT there. Then he commits to plant default. After planting he holds ramp because karrigan died to flank, however Madden saves. karrigan heads into T mid where he throws a smoke that is intended to put out GODSENT's molly, however the molly goes past the smoke. Then karrigan mollies down back 6. These two nades alongside Bymas' sandwich smoke can make it appear that Mouse could have sent a player out mid. It could also force a CT Ivy player to focus on T mid and to take pressure off of Ivy. karrigan stands behind the wall and listens to get info to see what GODSENT are doing. He hears a flash T mid, meaning GODSENT could have a player peek, in which karrigan responds with a nade. He pushes forward and shoots a couple of shots but doesn't fully commit. In response, GODSENT smoke T mid. karrigan then will walk back to box halls where he will flash through window for Bymas and ropz when the molly fades. He immediately goes down ramp and holds connector. Site is clear and the B anchor Zen is dead, CT. karrigan redirects his attention to flank where he kills Stiko and then dies to Madden. As I stated earlier, I would prefer if chrisJ and karrigan swap roles here because I would prefer an opera holding connector when jumping down ramp versus a rifler.